briefly introduce the newest members along with Katia, and they will talk a bit about their views, their visions about the network, and then I'll give the floor to you, our network, because without us together, working together, there's no network. So, I want to remind everyone that if we don't have too much time, because we all need to talk and we all need to interact today, there's a coffee network tomorrow. I think it's at 2 o'clock. So if you can attend that, that would be amazing. And then we can see what different teams emerge and we can just see where collaborations can take us. So just a little bit about myself. My name is Panayota Julia Levizu. You can call me Julie. I wouldn't expect you to call me with my Greek name. So I'm the newest member, and even though I'm not the youngest member, I carry a lot of years on my shoulder, proudly, looking at sustainability. And please raise your hand if you have been looking at this from the 90s, mid-90s, late 90s. There. Oh, happy to be in presence of 90s sustainability researchers. I thought I was the only one and felt special. So what that gives you is perspective. Most of us are in the arts. I don't know if we have any artists in here. I paint. So perspective is very, very important in order to create artworks. And having this experience span of many years that I want to count gave me perspective on things have changed, how they've improved, what new things have emerged in terms of sustainability. Back then, I did my MBA dissertation. I called this Green Claims. And I looked at communication, so sustainability and communication. And I went in the trend because in 2001, it was so trendy to talk about sustainability. And anyway, my interesting career took me here today, where in the past years I focused more on sustainability communications, of course, in the fashion industry, with recently a second edition of an edited volume on sustainability in fashion with the amazing Claudia Henninger and Daniela Riding and Alan Goorick. So that brings me here. And why am I part of this network? I can give many reasons. Most importantly, I was feeling a bit isolated, as I think someone mentioned initially. And then I was really lucky to be former supervisor of Claudia Henninger. And I keep saying that because I think I was really, really lucky there. Because she's so active, she's a wonderful person, and for those who know her, so she invited me to be part of this creative platform and share my research. And my first symposium was in 2022 in Berlin, and that opened a lot of opportunities. I reconnected with UNEP networks and so on. So there's a lot of potential in these type of networks and meetings. So I'm going to stop now because I can talk for hours, and I will give the floor to my executive co-executive members, and I'll ask them to introduce themselves and tell us a bit about their vision. So I'll start with Dr. Cosette, I have it, Joyner Martinez, who is an associate professor in Texas State University. So Cosette, briefly introduce yourself, tell us how you came to be part of the network, and also how do you see the future direction of the network since, as we mentioned this morning, you're going to be the new scientific lead.
Hey, thank you, Julie. Welcome, and it's good to see all of you here. And I came to the network because I was invited. In 2018, Katia tracked Kirsi Ninamaki and I down at the Plate Conference in Berlin and said, can I just talk to you for a few minutes? And so we chatted, and then things were kind of quiet for a bit, and then she emerged with this platform, this idea of a way to bring us all together. And I can also identify with being isolated, going to conferences where sustainability was being treated like a special topic, and a lot of that research was industry focused or practitioner focused. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but my research has always been, I have always been interested in educational mechanisms for sustainable consumption. So My research now is really focused on spirituality and spiritual practice and how people bring their whole self. This is a fundamental motivational factor in human development, and we almost entirely ignore it in the consumption domain and many other aspects of behavior. And so I've been very interested in understanding how we diminish the ego in fashion consumption, how we connect a spiritual practice to these ethical decisions that we apply in the consumption space, and what a different type of educational intervention might look like that involves some spiritual tools is kind of the next thing. And I've been very interested, especially this year, in trying to help our field distinguish conscious or responsible consumption with mindful consumption, which is a term that's kind of being abused a little bit, but mindful consumption is really about mind, body, soul being involved in the consumption of clothing, the use of clothing, and that is distinct from the application of ethical rules in purchasing, which is the most common thing that we do research about. So that is kind of what I have done, and so I'm even more alone as I retreated into the spiritual world. I became even more isolated, but I found dear friends like Maytal, who we have started collaborating now on some spiritual topics, and so this network has really become my home. And I made some notes about future directions for the network. We're so indebted to Katya for creating this foundation, and but now this new partnership with Yale is really a great turning point for us to think more specifically about how we educate the next generation of researchers. And so one of our big priorities this year is going to be identifying pathways to engage undergraduate students, graduate students, and connecting what we do to the education of future researchers in this area. As you can see, we're a pretty small group of people, relatively speaking, and so it's really important that we're preparing that the next group to come up. So that's going to be a big focus, starting with Yale students and then expanding out to include other students. And our second primary goal in the next year or two is also to develop partnerships, educational or research focus in the global south, but in Australia. We have so many Australian researchers that are part of the network that by way of scheduling, because they're where they are, that they sometimes get excluded. So we want to figure out a way to bring them to the table for the network, if not a position on the board, but to create some activities that involve them and expose them to the larger network and what they're doing. And then finally, finding new and different ways to gather occasionally, whether it's a formal symposium or we have gathered at Plate previously, so they've been a really open partner to, a lot of us are already there. So identifying those different conferences and symposium that are already going on where a lot of us are there already, and developing partnerships with those organizations so that we can get together physically. It's great to be online, but this is so much better. So those are just a few things that kind of give us a pathway forward strategically.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Cosette. So now I want to introduce, Maytal. Maytal is also, Dr. Maytal is also a postdoctoral fellow. Dr. Maytal, sorry. I'm Greek.
That's okay.
And it's nap time. So Maytal is a postdoctoral fellow in the Department of Economics at Yale University. So Maytal, please introduce briefly yourself. Tell us how you became part of the network, and also how do you see new research areas emerging, new themes for collaborations?
So, Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I sort of said it this morning, but it's not me just saying that. I'm really excited to have all of you here today. It's really great to be here, and working on this symposium for the last year has been. Thank you. Has been amazing. So seeing everybody today here is really special for all of us. How I became part of the network, I was lonely, just like everybody here probably. Back then, I was a PhD candidate and the only PhD student in my country to research sustainable fashion, and it was lonely not only because I didn't have anybody who's researching sustainable fashion to consult with or to talk about it, but it was also really misunderstood kind of field. I was going in the School of Environment, and people would be kind of like, just tell people stop buying clothes. Well, that's not gonna work. And then the symposium came in 2022, and I think I got emails on the symposium, the first symposium, maybe 15, 20 times. Everybody who somehow heard about the symposium emailed me that and forwarded me the email and told me, you have to be there. And I was like, I know, I'm registered, I'm presenting. But it was so exciting to sit in a room full with people that actually care about sustainable fashion, and not just sustainable fashion, but actually consumption of sustainable fashion, and being interested and curious about how it is that we change consumption product and not just the consumption pattern and not just consumption product, which is kind of the $1 million question. So I was blown away by the network, and the minute I could join to the not just to the network but also to the executive board, it was one of those things that you just grab. And luckily, I had a position and the opportunity to connect between the network and Yale. I was very fortunate to sit at that position as a postdoctoral fellow and part of the Moving the Needle team. So I was very happy to do that. What it is that I do today, besides the network and Moving the Needle, I continue to research sustainable fashion, but I feel that in the last 2 years, the main thing that I'm researching is complexity around the concept of sustainability within sustainable fashion. What it means in practice, I'm working on a few different research. One of them is about overconsumption of secondhand clothing. I'm going to talk about it at 4:30, so please come. Second research is policy analysis about the way that environmental sustainability is overshadowing social sustainability, meaning workers' rights within the fashion system. And another research which we're working on together is about the relationship between spirituality and religion and sustainable consumption being conducted in the state, in Iran and in Israel, which is one of those things that could have been created only through the network, having an Iranian, Israeli, American collaboration. I know, everybody is laughing, rightfully. And then my last and biggest research is about environmental and economic implication of secondhand trade in Ghana. So altogether, if I need to put it only in one sentence, it's about complexities in sustainable fashion and maybe products or concepts that we consider to be sustainable. And yesterday, when I thought what it is that I want to talk about when I'm thinking of the future of the network, I was thinking on many things, but if I need to choose only one thing, I want to focus on areas of research. What are the things that we want to research together, and what are the things that we need to start talking about? So one main thing is disposal. We don't think of disposal as part of consumption, but it's a major area of consumption, obviously. And I think there's a great room for research in disposal behavior and not just consumption behavior, becoming more and more important. Another neglected area of research is gender. How it looks when we're talking about men consumption of sustainable fashion. We know there's a lot of differences, but it's kind of neglected talking about men consumption. And last but definitely not least is consumption behavior in cross-culture and cross-geographic. I read yesterday that while in 2015, 75% of what's being manufactured in China was exported and sell in the state. Now in 2025, 75% of what's being manufactured in China is being sold within China. Take a minute to think about it. It's a giant difference. So researching consumption behavior in other regions that we didn't dive in yet is probably the future of sustainable fashion consumption research. And again, thank you for being here and thank you for having me. I'm very, very happy to be here.
Thank you, Meta. And Katya, our founder, it's your turn to very briefly introduce yourself, because just in case someone was not here this morning, and tell us how you envision, how do you see the network getting more involved in what we're doing and all the activities and collaborations.
Thank you, Julie. I'm Katya Demblitmirova. I'm the founder, regional coordinator of the network, who is now taking a step down in terms of scientific leadership. I'm very happy to do so. We have a very capable board that consists of 6 people, and we split our responsibilities based on our merit and interests. And so I know that the board is well equipped to serve the needs of this growing community. How I came across the network, I will not maybe talk too much about this, but I wanted to, honestly, I wanted to talk to you guys about the fact of what this is as a community for me. We started small, and I never intended for it to grow that big. I always wanted to keep the focus within this community on consumption issues. Why? Because these are the issues that other people wouldn't touch. And it was important for me to unite us, those who care about this, who do research in whichever discipline on these topics. It is easy to, I don't want to say dilute, but to add more people, because the topic of sustainable fashion is something that we're all passionate about. But this specific network is about consumption-related issues. So I've been trying to, in the first few years of the network, we've been trying to really focus on maintaining this laser sharp focus, and I think we have succeeded. But the growth of the network today is really attributable, in my opinion, to the fact that more people are actually working on consumption topics, which makes me extremely, extremely happy. So my task in this panel is to tell you how to get more involved, more engaged. I have a few points for you, but I would like to say that whichever engagement we want to have it in the spirit of positive collaboration that puts humans before their countries, before their nationalities, whatever attributes we can give to the humans. I would love to underline this. You saw the board. We have a wide diversity of people in the board, and had we been really focused on the geopolitical context, this symposium would not have been possible. lots of collaborations would not have been possible. So we put humans first. We put people who are here as representing themselves, who came here on their voluntary basis and would like to have and see respectful exchanges now and in the future. And I'm really pleased to see how so far the day's been going. It's been really, really very positive in this sense. So how to get involved? If you are not registered, if you're not part of the network yet and you would like to be, there is a form on the website. Please fill out this form if you want to join as a researcher. We review these forms once every 2 months. We try to take a look at them, and the next one is going to be in January. So whoever applies during the symposium, you will have the answer in January. The review is not awful, we're not mean, it's just we really want to see if there is a good alignment in terms of topics. And if you do work on consumption issues, there shouldn't be any problem. Please, if you are a member of the network, you know how in the beginning it was working with a Gmail, we would just send a message and then you could reply to all, and it was a more, I would say, smaller circle, more intimate way of exchanging. Now we have a proper communications team, thanks to Yale, and we do send emails that are not showing everybody else's email addresses. However, please do send your updates. We have Julie, who is in charge of the mailing list, together with some really talented students from Yale who are helping us out. So every month there is a request that goes to the network. Do you have anything to share? Please do share. You have a new job. Amazing. If it's within the fashion consumption domain, please do tell us. Like, I would love to know. You published something. I know many of us have imposter syndrome. Sometimes like, oh, why would I don't know. No, please do. I want to see your publications. Lots of people would be really curious to see what you've been working on. You know of a call for conference papers. You know of a grant opportunity where we could apply together. These are all examples of past scientific collaborations that we did successfully. Out of those exchanges through the network, we built papers, we built session streams, we applied for funding, successfully or not. But you know, we did build on those very exchanges within the network, and I would encourage you to send your updates regularly, because if you don't, if you want to be part of it, we gotta all play our role. Excuse me. We are restarting the webinars in the next year. The webinars, what are those about? Every webinar is open to the network, and it gives one researcher an opportunity to present her or his work to the network. They will be closed to the network. I will let Samira speak more because she's in charge of that line of work in terms of expanding, and this will come a bit later. But right now, if you are interested to present your work in a closed, friendly environment, feel free to let us know, let the board know, and we can put you on the list, because of course we need to schedule them. They're about once a month. We are also restarting the Wicked Questions. This is also to come in 2026. It will be carried out by the student team at Yale, and the way it works is every month or every 2 months, we will pose a question that is can be characterized as wicked, which means it doesn't have a right or wrong answer. It's a value judgment, you know, that people can debate and exchange over. And the next question would be, how would the fashion system look like if brands were not by law allowed to produce more than a certain number of garments per year? So think about what you would answer to this, and then we create a Google Doc usually, which is a collaborative way, and there you share your thoughts in a friendly and respectful way, comment on what other people wrote, and then there will be someone taking a summary of our answers, and we will be able to publish this as a blog, or possibly in the future see if there's any academic outlet. If you have any questions, if you need help, if you're a junior researcher, if you're looking for some literature suggestions, whichever relevant question it is, don't hesitate to send it as updates to the network, and people will get back to you. People do get back to you, and people do respond. And also, if you do have time, and if you have a project, an idea, some area of research that you'd like to develop, or you want to lead something, or you want to just say, I can just give my time for whichever tasks you have. Also, please do let us know. This whole structure runs on voluntary labor of love. And if you have love to give, and if you would like to be part of it, we're very open to welcoming you.
Thank you, Katja. I not only like the inspiring tone of the story behind the network, but also the solutions. A lot of solutions of how to bring the network together, which I feel are amazing. And before I open the questions to the floor, Q&A, just in case you have any questions, comments, ideas, I would like to mention that the new scientific lead has something for Cosette. Something for Katya Vladimirova, who has been an inspiration, yes.
So I have this gift, and I know this. No big deal. I wrapped it in a box I found in my garage. And this raffia I've been recycling through my family for 20 years, so everything inside is new. And it's candles and incense and crystals and all the things you need to do to take a load off. Thank you. You guys make me blush.
Well, excellent. So up to you guys. Do you have any comments, any questions, any ideas you want to talk and bring forward? And we can continue that discussion tomorrow in our network cafe, same time. Please feel free. And also online, guys, if you have any questions. Yes, Heather.
I don't have a question. It's more of a comment. I just want to make sure, I know we've talked about this a bit. We're at Yale. There are so many bright, incredible students, grad students, undergrads, who are wanting to connect and engage on this type of work. So if you're willing to connect, right? Like, I think that's part of the growing discussion. I just want you to think about, like, right, how can I use a whip smart student who might want to, like, dig in and help me? So I want you to think about that. And we're also going to be thinking about ways that we can be building out the engagement with Yale students and your work. So I just wanted to make sure that's out there, loud and clear.
Thank you, Heather. Yes.
What type of voluntary support does the network need? Like, I myself have a bunch of time, love energy. So what activities do you guys have on a monthly basis, or what do you need help with?
Webinars.
I think there are different areas that we're just, given the movement in the executive board, we're just trying to figure out. So any ideas, if you have any ideas or you want an area where you feel you can volunteer, please feel free to communicate it to the network. We have an email, dedicated email. And as Katya mentioned, we will respond. And we're just still trying to figure out how to move forward. Katya mentioned some ideas, but I don't know, Katya, if you have anything else to add.
I think what would be a productive way forward is for you to think what kind of skills you want to develop. If you're, for example, an early career researcher, if you are a student, think of what is it that you want to work on. For example, we always need support in comms, in communication, some sort of way to spread the word, some creative ideas. At the moment, we have, thank God, thanks to Yale, we have most of the administrative and a lot of communication and facilitation coordination tasks covered. But usually, where we could really do with some support, if there's a new project starting up, for example, and someone says, oh, I love to do this, but I have the idea, but I would need, an extra pair of hands. We're really hoping to hear from you today and also tomorrow when we will have during the cafe, we will try to build by areas identified by Cosette. We want to build specific pools of ideas and then connect people who have the ideas and leadership capabilities others who maybe would like to support them, but they don't necessarily want to lead and pull the full weight. So kind of building these connections across the different areas of priorities for the network.
Welcome. Exercise.
Hello, I'm Laura from London College of Fashion. I just wanted to ask if student mentoring is something that you've considered or discussed within the network, because myself, I mean, I've just finished my PhD journey, but many times I think when you're in sustainable fashion consumption as a PhD or MA student, you do not have necessarily those experts within your institution. I mean, you get amazing sort of supervisors and director of studies, but because it's such a small field, you might not have that direct connection to the field itself. So is that something that could be an idea that you've thought of?
Yeah, that's going to be an immense focus for us this year, is trying to formalize some ways that are mutually beneficial for the researcher as well as the student involved, and figuring out what that might look like, whether it's like webinar-based things or it's colloquium, online colloquium, so students can get formal feedback on proposals or that type of thing. But there are a lot of things that, there are a lot of different ways this could look for student membership, mentorship. But I think that is something that we're in a position to do now. And so if you have ideas specific about how we might carry that out, then that's something to bring to us tomorrow afternoon.
Can I add
Yes.
something to that?
Yes.
And you're here. Look how many people. Don't be shy. If you listen to some presentation and you like it, talk to the person. And it might be more authentic to connect and look for a mentor that way. I mean, having a formal initiative is great. It's great. And we don't have everyone here in the room, obviously. But being here, you can just like, hey, I really like your work. Can I talk to you? I'm looking for a mentor. Can you be one? And that's it.
No, that's amazing. And I've had those
Yeah.
opportunities, and I'm here today, but I know how the journey has been, and it's not that easy to maybe physically come to
Absolutely,
those
right.
opportunities,
Absolutely.
right?
And that's what they are talking about. They will
Yep.
teach us.
100%, and I'll just add to that that mentorship can go both ways. I mean, we definitely want to provide mentorship for students, but at the same time, if you're interested in being a mentor, especially after already submitting your PhD and being at this weird stage of already having your PhD but looking for a tenure track and wanna practice being a mentor, then yes, definitely. So no matter what position you are currently, it can be relevant for you.
So kind of along those same-ish lines, I'm junior faculty, and I would love to collaborate, but we have, and it might be, somebody else might be thinking this, we have a lot of different disciplines, and when you are tenure track, some journals are ranked higher than others, or you have a certain list that you have to publish in. And between like business and environment and apparel and textile specific, we have a lot of different journals. And I've had people ask me to collaborate on pieces, and they say it's set for this journal, and I've had to pass because it's not on it wouldn't count for my tenure. And so as we look for possible collaborations, is there any thought into, with the varying disciplines, how are we going to, I'm not asking this question very well, but I think you can understand where I'm trying to get at with, again, not a well-asked question, but.
No, you're voicing concerns that are really clearly very important. So my immediate knee-jerk reaction to you would be, how about we map out who does what? How about we map out what disciplines our members are representing and cluster them, you know, the methodologies that we all use. We could cluster people by discipline, and this way sometimes you would maybe find someone who wasn't even there. Any takers for this this kind of project? This is an example of an easy thing to do because we have a growing community. We could maybe work with the website where we do tag people's discipline or preferred discipline or multiple disciplines. This is where we would need support, for example. Yeah, voila, this is happening. And if you'd like to take a look at this and help us out with this, I think it would be really helpful because it could help actually lots of other people to locate. Is there anyone else in business? Anyone else in marketing, environment? And then around those, we could also identify some journals which are maybe halfway for both of you or... and if you have any calls that you want to work on, you can also come out to the network and say, hey, I would like to publish in this journal. Would anyone be on board? And what kind of topics would you suggest? Or like, here are the topics that I suggest. Join me in.
Any other questions? I can't reach you, but I'll do my best.
Lovely. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for putting this all together. It's amazing. Just out of curiosity, now that you're starting to work with Yale, would there be an opportunity to maybe do something accredited for other courses that are running at an international level, whether it be maybe modules or potential courses that you could offer that accreditation or certification that they're part of this network?
Yeah, I mean, that's not, no, we don't just, and that would be really kind of lofty and down the road, but yeah, spinning up courses and accreditation is a long vision kind of thing. But I think, you know, the value of the network is, like all y'all are saying, kind of bringing these interdisciplinary fields together. And less, I hear, you know, papers and journals, and all that is so great. All those things are wonderful. But what's really needed is like the action, right? So what are the insights? What are the things that come from these journals and papers and things that we can like spin out, right? That's where my center is like really, really good at. We want to take the ideas and the things, the kernels from the papers and turn them into, okay, what now? Like, what are things that people can do with them now? How do we translate this paper into some actionable insight that we can then put out into the world now, right? To get things done sooner, faster, right? So, like, that's what I'd love to see. One of the things I'd love to see from this network, right, is taking all your beautiful papers and journals and everything that you're, and like creating something to spin out, right? And how do we help each other now in the now? So, however, I don't know what that looks like. Again, I have this great team here to work on, but that's one thing I really want to kind of focus on. And I do think that's where students can help, right? I've got this paper I just published. This team of students can take it, boil it down, and we can share it quickly, right? So those are the kinds of things that one of the kinds of things I'd like to be doing. So sorry, no, I mean, we're not gonna have classes and certifications like up anytime soon, but I do think there's a lot more different things we can do together.
So kind of to go along with what Heather is saying, do you have any plans to use the academic side as a more practical use also for the business side, maybe for innovation and working with fast tech startup companies, or I think from the other side, maybe about policy and regulation? Is there any idea of opening a different chapter, maybe of doing it?
So us here, we're the board, we're the executive board, and in total we're 6 people, as I mentioned at least 20 times today. But with the growing network and the growing possibilities, we need to start creating another substructures. And we were thinking, we had some discussions previously, they're not formalized yet, but this is, spinballing with all you guys here. How about we could create working groups or kind of subcommittees by interest, people who want to work on policy, people who want to work on, reaching out to business, people who want to work on, digital topics, whatever angle you want to select. If there is a shared community of interest around a topic, that fits well under the umbrella, we are very welcoming. But here we look at you because we are, each of us is at the end of our capacity. We are putting already a lot of time. And if you see something that could be valuable, volunteer, do it. Reach out to us. One of the things that we were really looking forward to in terms of this substructure would be to work with Global South representatives. And we have negotiations around creating an African hub. We would also love to have someone to lead, for example, India or Southeast Asia, Asia Pacific, South America. It was really inspiring this morning to hear presentations from students that span across continents. It was really, really cool. So if you want to lead or if you want to be part of it or give your time, go for it and do it. And suggest, and we'll be happy to consider it at the next board meeting.
Any other questions or comments or ideas?
So in the meanwhile, I'll add another sentence on that. Yes, and 100%. And I think we're all realizing that we can talk about research all day long, but in the end of the day, there's no way that we can conduct research without having data, and data come from within the field, whether it's from business, from policy, from any other field. And it's creating a feedback loop because we're taking data and we're taking knowledge from the field, turning it into research, and then it goes back to changing policy or to changing business strategy. So even if we won't try to do it intentionally, it's still going to happen. But yes, by all means, any idea, any desire to create any kind of collaboration is more than welcome.
And also just to add that even like the symposium was curated that way. We have industry sessions, we have communication sessions, we have consumption or education or so all these ideas can just be nurtured in these sessions, and then we can take them and expand them further on.
I can yell.
Okay.
So that I'm understanding correctly, because this is my first time connecting with you all, although I've known a few of your work contingently as a public policy person representing the policy community. With one foot in cleaner production community. So I'm usually the only scholar at a public policy academic venue talking fashion, right? So
I hear you.
Yes. You know, like, why are you here? Why are you here? So is this an ongoing partnership with Yale? Or is this just one?
No. It's an ongoing, it's a partnership that's gonna...
Hosted administratively. Yes.
Yeah, currently, right. Like, I mean, the idea is, right, for the next 5 years, it'll be hosted at Yale. If there's like another school, you know, there's a potential possibility, we want whatever's healthiest for the relationship, right? So, or for the network. So, is there a different university that should be taking it on? Maybe in 5 years' time, we'll look. But right now, yes, it's administratively housed here. And we'll be looking for all those, you know, partnerships and connections.
But the board is all around.
Right. Yeah. So that's understood, because the way that I understood the history of the organization, it didn't have an academic home. It was more of like a consortium, a nonprofit, right? But now it has an academic institutional home, which is, you know, a good anchor for us, because it gives us, like, we can reach out to you and say, okay, guess what? I'm doing research and I'm giving invited talks. Will anybody at Yale teaching a class here do that stuff? But then I'll be like linking folks with other institutions and schools. The previous presenter talked about Eleanor Ostrom. The O'Neill School of Sustainability is like the public policy institution there. So they're always looking to link in a more applied networks with people who are actually more industry focused within the sectors. So for us that are interdisciplinary, and we have that struggle with preferred journals and that many publications a year and impact factors and all that stuff, is opening up the conversation that we don't necessarily live in this world that's created by departments is very helpful if we show that you have a network. Like, okay, so I'm weird. These are your standards. You want me to publish in those 5 journals with those impact factors and that's it, or I'm not going to make tenure. But that's not the world I live in. This is the world I live in, and it's innovative, and it's contributive, and look, Yale is hosting it. So the branding, we're fashion people, branding matters, right? Yeah. So thank you, Yale, for giving us some branding.
Very welcome.
And we will end it here.
Like, what was the predecessor of you guys? The Network for the Well-Meaning Researchers in Fashion or something like that? Remember that when that was launched all these years ago and like it exploded and then imploded? So without the branding and the legitimacy of an institution that says, okay, these people are not just a bunch of, crazy marching people out there trying to change the world, but they're doing work that might be not well understood in disciplinarity context, and it's innovative, gives us a lot more, gives us currency.
No, I totally agree. And Yale's really committed right now, and that's why moving the needle is that kind of broader umbrella, but we've become this kind of hub at Yale for all things, for people who are interested and want to poke and push, like I said earlier, at all things sustainable fashion. And so it's really exciting, I think, again, to use Yale's name in that way, to be like, okay, this is a huge problem. We need to solve it. It's going to take all of us, and like, how are we thinking about it? And then this is one good, solid chunk under that umbrella. Yeah. Thank you.
And if I may just add, the Union of Concerned Researchers in Fashion exists. It started before the network, and it's a highly respected organization with really excellent people on board. And I wish we could build a partnership of some sort with them, because they've been doing fantastic work for many years, and people on board there are just really phenomenal. They don't necessarily work on consumption topics, but they're open to all of the researchers across sustainable fashion conversation spectrum. Our network is more focused on consumption. So that's what I've been trying to underline multiple times. This is our difference from that other community. But I'm part of both, and I'm benefiting from whatever's happening in each network. And I love it, because that's the way to find the best opportunities. And I just wanted to also say that we could